Give us your read on this social pushback against the property situation in China right now. Tell us, what is the scope of people threatening to boycott their mortgage payments? How consequential could that be?
Well, we know that about 54% of all financing from the developer's perspective comes from pre-sales. So there's a long way to go if you think about how many of those projects may have not been fulfilled, and therefore there is a scope for this mortgage boycott, if we call it that way, to become relevant. I think, frankly speaking, because of the measures we just heard on the banks being pushed to continue or to basically step up, because banks weren't the most relevant lenders into the real estate developers. It was indeed households, but if they now step up and take more of those loans, I think the problem may be minimized. The problem then will be on the banks, especially smaller banks. And the PBOC has already warned us that 7% of the banking sector is in dire straits in terms of capital. So that's where the problem is going to move forward.
Okay, so it can be minimized, but nonetheless, it does still cast a light on the sector as being very, very in great difficulty still and taking some extraordinary maneuvers in order to keep it stable. How worried are you about the medium-term potential here?
I think what might happen is that these smaller banks that, by the way, were already hit by also the pandemic, because their clients are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, will probably have to be taken over, merged by larger banks. So there will be more consolidation in the banking sector as a consequence of both COVID and the real estate demise in China. How consequential? Well, it's just that larger banks that will take these smaller banks over time will become less profitable and more saddled with non-performing loans from the developers and also smaller companies coming from the smaller banks. So in a way, it's like the big one swallowing the problems of the smaller ones. And I think that's where we're heading indeed.